Welcome to So Many Receipts. I'm Fleur Michelle.
And I'm Shelley Seddon. We're former entertainment editors and lifelong reality TV addicts.
Unpacking the tea from the Traitors, Real Housewives, Bravo and beyond. Let's get stuck in. Hello everyone, I hope you're all well. Before we get into the Traitors, we are still recovering from Hayu Fanfest in Sydney.
Yes, just us with 3,000 of our nearest and dearest at the Horton Pavilion going gaga over the Hayu Bravolebrities last weekend. It was hectic, but we made it nice.
We sure did, and we got to meet all 8 stars, take pics and have chats with them, so stick around for our extended coverage on that. AJ on the Traitors. Oh my God, this guy is so freaking smart. He should be running the country, not playing poker for a living.
People have been losing their minds over the latest episode. They're saying never in the history of the Traitors worldwide has anyone ever figured out all 3 traitors so early in the game.
Some of the players can't even figure out one. He's picked all of them.
People have been saying online it's the best episode of any Traitors ever aired anywhere.
So he correctly leads the charge to eliminate traitor Alvin, knows Kirby is a traitor, and then comes up with a plan to work with third traitor Alex so they go to the end. Genius. And I think she was so stunned, her face gave it away.
She just sat there calmly. She should have definitively said, I am not a traitor.
Busted.
So this puts Alex in a very tricky position. She either works with a fellow traitor Kirby, who'll probably betray her, or AJ, who could be playing her. Who do you trust in a game full of traitors?
But do you think he's now put himself in danger because now she and Kirby know that he's onto them?
I think it's a good plan. Alex should work with AJ. I feel he's smarter than Kirby or anyone. The guy's already won $500,000 as a professional poker player.
Yeah, he's an expert at strategy and odds, but I'm always scared smart people are going to get voted out.
Yeah, I don't know. Plus, everyone trusts him as a faithful. The question is, will AJ betray Alex?
I always think he should have won Survivor.
AJ is so ahead of everyone. They can't even follow his logic at the round table. He's literally turning other players' brains into scrambled eggs. AJ's the puppet master who's quietly been slithering behind the scenes. I said last week that this was his game to lose, and I feel that even more so now. So the players desperately needed to catch a traitor for their sake and the audience's sake, and I think they caught the right one in quiet, unassuming risotto-making MasterChef contestant Alvin.
I actually thought Alvin was great TV and a great choice for a traitor because his deer in the headlights mock facial expressions were hilarious. And considering he was the only person there who had not been in a reality TV show primarily based around personal interactions, I think he did pretty well for a chef.
I'm just glad that the game finally got interesting.
Because we're already at the halfway mark. I think there's only 3 more weeks left.
This is how it usually rolls. There's excitement, chaos, and betrayal.
And I hate to say it, I honestly thought a lot of the dullness was due to Dicko's throw any old name out, don't bother eliminating traitors strategy.
Thank God his LSD alliance fell apart after it was exposed, with too many members wanting to play their own game instead of being in his boy band, which Chrissy rightfully called it.
He was still funny as ever, but I honestly hope no one ever plays the game like him again because it was not good TV.
We also saw the traitors in the previous episode get rid of Gamble. Such a wasted vote. Gamble had no strategy. She wasn't a threat. She didn't know the intricacies of the game or even how to play it. She was completely harmless and a good distraction, not to mention highly entertaining TV.
She is good TV. Even if she does nothing, it's still somehow hilarious.
I also loved the impromptu eulogy that Reese gave, saying Gamble didn't even know where she was, and that hopefully she was in a better place and actually knew where she was, or something like that. So for story time this week, we're talking about the inaugural Hayu Sydney Fanfest.
This was a total dream come true for 2 long-time reality TV tragics like us. We'll play some vision from our social media content as we speak. So you don't actually get a lot of time on a red carpet at any event, but we have collated some of the highlights here.
So representing the Real Housewives, we had Dorinda Medley, Meredith Marks, Cynthia Bailey, Alexia Napola, and Juliet Mayhew, who all looked incredible. Meredith gets my Best Dressed award, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But who gets your Best Dressed?
My favourite dress was actually on Juliet Mayhew from the Real Housewives of London, who told us she was wearing Romance Was Born. It was this over-the-top sequined koala motif gown. I thought it was really fun, although the feather headdress was maybe a step too far.
I think she's trying to be Australia's own Bronwyn Newport.
I also thought Meredith was stunning in person. I've had my face literally pressed against her face for our photo. That's how close we got to these people, cheek to cheek. I don't think she's had a facelift either. If she has, I need the name of her surgeon.
Alexia was really beautiful as well. She claims she's had no facelift either. And we also had three very handsome men, Southern Charms, Shep Rose and Craig Conover, and Captain Jason from Below Deck.
And I can confirm, listeners, all three of these guys are very attractive in the flesh. Our friend Liz even said, I never rated Shep, but seeing him up close, I've changed my mind. And they were all super tall, weren't they?
Well, it makes a nice change from the usual Tom Cruise 5'7" famous men proportions. And we kept hearing around us, oh my God, they're so tall.
So the pink carpet arrivals were actually the most exciting part because that's when everyone saw them for the first time and the energy was really high.
Then inside, we were all in this big space and they took turns doing meet and greets around the perimeter while interviews were happening on the main stage. So if you were standing in line, at least you could still watch and listen.
And we were in the media and VIP seats at the front, which I was very thankful for because it went for over 5 hours.
I don't think I would have coped with standing room only tickets. It was a very long day.
So we went with our two reality TV besties, Madeline and Liz, who were our Team So Many Receipts photographers and videographers for the day. We all had so much fun together. Could not have done it without you girls.
So there were also fun picture walls, and I saw that you took a pic in the 17-seat Salt Lake City plane, pretending to accost Liz.
It was all in the spirit of Meredith and Brittany Bateman's plane fight.
Our friend Tom B. Rich from the pod Unserious asked Meredith on the pink carpet whether she finally saw the end of Crazy Rich Asians. She said she had, but she still couldn't remember what happened. At least she had a sense of humor about it.
Yeah, I love how he asked her that. So there was a props display in the foyer, and that included the infamous stuffed bunny, the gift that Lisa Rinna gave to Kim Richards for her baby grandson, only for Kim to give it back saying she didn't want it and that it was too toxic. Now, as for the interviews on stage, look, to be honest, a lot of these questions were pretty ho-hum.
Some of them were so dull. I hate it when they play stupid games like Who Wore It Better, and they had Dorinda giving out etiquette advice. Like the best hostess gifts. I don't think the audience knows what Crystal candlesticks are. We want piping hot tea. I was also shocked when I saw a brief backstage chat on Instagram where Dorinda and Cynthia both said they lived in Sydney in the 90s. Dorinda lived in Double Bay and Cynthia in Elizabeth Bay. Why didn't we hear these stories on stage?
That was so bizarre. I mean, these questions would have been pre-approved and cast prepped beforehand, but I don't think a lot of thought went into it. I also got the impression they don't want this to be like a reunion show or Watch What Happens Live because they don't want them being grilled or dropping shady gossip.
But the fact they live in Sydney wasn't even shady.
No.
It was just relevant. I also feel they could have workshopped a bit of spicy tea for each person.
Yes, just a little bit. What was wrong with that? I also think the Aussie hosts, Justin Hill and Dean McCarthy, plus two women I didn't even know, they did their best, but it would have been much better if Andy Cohen had been the host.
Andy knows how to extract good stuff out of these people.
Well, he was at FanFest 2024 in London, so it was a real shame he wasn't at this one.
I also hoped they'd do Q&A questions from the audience, but they didn't.
Overall, though, I did think it was a fun day for Hayu fans. It was the first one, so in marketing speak, I think they need to analyse the key learnings. However, I feel it probably won't be an annual event because it probably costs them a lot to organise.
I was also hoping for some better merch. There were $75 gray Baby Gorgeous sweatshirts, also an unengaged hat and a Make It Nice keychain. But I wanted high body count hair t-shirts or a Captain Jason's future wife sweatshirt. And why wasn't Craig selling pillows or Shep selling his new book? He is on a book tour, or Meredith selling bath bombs. Like Shep could have had book signings while he was in here. He's been in Sydney. He's in Queensland. And he's going to Melbourne this weekend. Such a missed opportunity.
I would have gone to a Dimmicks and bought his book and met him again just to have him sign it. So we have to start with the eye candy of the event, Shep and Craig. I am such a huge Southern Charm fan. I love this show even when nothing happens. So meeting them was the highlight of the day for me.
Shep actually visited Australia with Austin 3 years ago, and it was Craig's first time. Shep, Craig, and Meredith caught up with Hannah Ferrier from Below Deck, who lives here in Sydney, and I'm friends with her on Instagram, so I saw their pics, and I think they all caught up in Manly.
So when we met Shep on the pink carpet, the first thing I said to him was, I think you should date older women. And he immediately said, I do. I'm getting into divorcees. I have a squad I can call on. It was just classic Shep.
He was very engaging. I wasn't 100% Team Shep before, but he did win me over.
I have no idea if he's serious about actually pursuing women closer to his actual age of 47 because this man cannot resist younger women. Although after the dating disaster of dating Sienna, who is only 24, he says he's now raised his minimum age to 28. So progress, Shep, baby steps.
It was cute how Dorinda gave Shep and Craig dating advice on stage. They're both single, and she said, I think you both need to date people outside of the industry. She's actively looking at matchmaking for both of them.
Basically deciding Bluestone Manor is now a dating agency. However, Shep already tried dating an ordinary person in his ex Taylor, who was a dental assistant, and then she just ended up becoming part of the Southern Charm cast anyway.
Plus, he mentioned someone from the past will be returning next season, which we know that is Taylor. She broke up with her love rat boyfriend, who was Sally Carson's ex, Gaston. I think maybe Taylor's just a friend of the show now. She filmed the cast trip to Maui in June. Did anyone actually miss Taylor being on the show? I know I didn't.
I think if she was an actual full-time cast member again, I think there would be a bit bigger buzz about it online or more rumors or something.
Yeah.
Well, I liked watching Shep in an actual relationship, although I don't think they should get back together. She's just not exciting enough for him. She wants to settle down and live a normal life. And while he says that's what he wants as well, I'm not sure he can. He said to Dorinda, do you think Craig and I will both make good fathers one day? And she said, oh, yes, of course. So maybe he'll be like Warren Beatty or George Clooney and they'll suddenly get married one day and finally become a dad mid-50s.
He's always been one of Bravo's biggest bachelors. I mean, he even got his own spin-off show at one point called Relationship. When he and Craig walked onto the pink carpet, it was like everyone was screaming for a boy band. Shep even said they felt like rock stars. Plus, everyone we spoke to said Shep and Craig were the ones they wanted to get a photo with.
I was expecting someone to start throwing underwear at them. It was that crazy.
Shep's apparently been very supportive through Craig's breakup with Paige, aka my spirit animal, and Craig's taken Shep's advice to have adventures and travel the world.
He said he wanted to do Antarctica. Well, so do I. I will go with you, Craig.
Well, Craig apparently already loves Australia so much that he's already coming back in January to join Kyle Cook on his DJ tour. They are no longer enemies. They are besties. We should totally go.
But it doesn't start until 10 p.m. at Sydney's messiest pub, the Coogee Bay Hotel. You'll have to nap beforehand.
Actually, I've changed my mind because I'm not going to stand around and listen to doof music unless I'm in Ibiza at some amazing beach club.
Oh, okay.
But I remember Hannah actually suggested Kyle do a gig on a yacht, which I am totally here for. Bring on the day drinking. Hannah's actually also doing an event with Austin in New York City in a few weeks. It's called Spilling the Tea at Sea, Cocktails, Chaos, and Spilling Secrets. It sounds fabulous.
Shep also mentioned he's currently on his US book tour. How has Shep from Southern Charm written 2 memoirs? The latest one is called Nothing in Moderation, a psychedelic reckoning with excess. It's about him doing ayahuasca in Costa Rica after he blacked out at BravoCon one year after drinking and doing drugs and getting in trouble with Andy Cohen.
Dorinda also revealed that Craig has made his acting debut. He filmed an indie comedy drama in Massachusetts called Caroline Fletcher before he came to Australia, and it will be released in January.
So we just had to ask Craig about something he'd been warned about while he was in Melbourne the week before, the dangerous drop bears.
Craig was posting stories on Instagram doing his morning runs around Melbourne and Sydney's botanical gardens, and he said he got lost on a trail and encountered a snake. I think he stuck to the trails after that.
And speaking of wildlife, in one of these videos, one Aussie fan commented, "G'day, welcome to Oz. Careful of the drop bears. Definitely don't muck around in the bush or the ocean. Gotta be informed here." Craig replied, "Ha, what the heck is a drop bear?" Another person said, "Don't be fooled by the cuteness. They have venomous fangs." And then another, "Definitely be careful about the drop bears." Then Craig replied, "Well, probably good I didn't know about these before, but now I certainly won't be forgetting to be looking up as well as down." Oh dear. At that point, I think he might have been taking it pretty seriously. Did you get that impression?
Yeah, I think he might have been. And then people started revealing the truth because there are no drop bears.
No.
So a drop bear, for anyone not from Australia listening, this is a fictional Australian creature, a vicious koala waiting in trees, ready to drop onto unsuspecting tourists.
Yes, it's a well-known Aussie gag, but Craig didn't respond again about it in the thread, even when the joke was revealed. So I don't know whether he ever worked it out. So when we saw him, I did ask, "Have you cuddled a koala yet?" And he said, "Oh, no, not yet, but definitely next time." And I said, "Okay, but just watch out because the drop bears can be dangerous. And he just replied, oh, okay, thanks so much.
Well, we were honestly about to explain that they weren't real if he hadn't realized already, but our time was up and he was moved along by some handler.
I mean, this drop bear gag, it was all in fun. We Aussies, we do like to mess around with people we like.
So I've had my issues with Dorinda in the past. I thought she was horribly mean to one of my favorite New York housewives, Tinsley Mortimer, but I do think Dorinda being put on pause for a couple of years has made her check herself. She seems lighter, nicer, and more grateful.
Or maybe she's just deliriously happy to be back on TV with this new gig on The Golden Life. So we've now met Sonia, Luann, and Dorinda. So glad we've met so many New York OGs. That show is still the benchmark. Dorinda was really delightful, I thought. High energy, so happy to be amongst the fans.
So Dorinda already knew Juliet from The Real Housewives of London, and she was at this huge dinner in Sydney that Real Housewives Chrissy Marsh, currently on the Traitors, threw for everyone at her Eastern Suburbs mansion a few nights beforehand. All the Bravo-lebs were there, along with other Sydney housewives, Victoria Montano and Nicole O'Neill.
Lauren Dunn, ex-MAFS contestant, she said she was also there in one of her videos. I wonder if she flirted with Craig or Shep, or vice versa. She's very attractive. I would have loved to have seen that.
Well, Shep did post a pic of him and her on his story, so who knows? And Dorinda is also close with Shep. He said that they totally hit it off at a BravoCon, and Craig stayed with her when he filmed his movie because it was near Bluestone Manor.
I also told Dorinda we loved Luann's show in Brisbane. We've actually just bought tickets to Luann's Sydney show in February. Dorinda's now touring her own show around Australia, except Sydney. I think they just figured all of her Sydney fans would just go to Fanfest, but I would have gone to her show as well.
I think Dorinda in a more relaxed Q&A setting would have been fantastic because she's such a great storyteller.
Exactly. I said to her, oh, I'm so bummed that you're not doing your show here. And she shrugged and said, oh, well, it is what it is. I got the feeling she wanted to do one. And then she said to me, but, I'm doing Perth tomorrow. She said the one thing she wants to see in Australia is a quokka, which only exists on Rottnest Island off the coast of Perth.
She also said she didn't want to party after FanFest because she had a 7 a.m. flight to Perth, but the boys were going to try and convince her. So Meredith really impressed me. She looked amazing. She's really tiny and really beautiful. And I said, I am obsessed with your outfit. It was this black fitted blazer with silver staple looking details and these silky flared pants.
It was perfection.
I did find her jacket. It's Alaya and 10,500 Aussie dollars. So I won't be brushing out to grab it anytime soon. But Meredith is a total pro, and she gave PR perfect answers to all the really boring questions she was asked by the hosts. And she did her stage interview with Captain Jason, and they talked about the crossover from hell when the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City were on board.
There was so much more they could have asked her.
Plus, I thought it was really annoying. No one on stage asked her about the two biggest storylines in the new season, Angie K and Sean splitting, and Whitney and Justin breaking up, or at least having marital issues. Meredith has already commented about this on Insta. You'd think they'd want to talk about it to get people excited to watch the new season.
I know. Who did these questions? I thought Meredith was exactly like how she is on the show in person. She's demure. She's never going to be screeching along with fans. We also saw her DJing. She actually does not move much when she DJs. She's kind of mainly standing there looking at a laptop, but that's okay.
Well, in the background, there was this amazing montage of her looking incredible in a bathtub in the background.
Yeah.
And then we saw Seth pop up during her meet and greet wearing a hat that said disengage. This family knows how to stay on brand.
They also danced together on stage at the end to You're the One That I Want from Grease, which was fun. She also acknowledged how Mary Cosby is doing. Did you notice the host asked her a completely different question and she somehow segued into talking about Mary?
Yes.
I wondered if she was thinking, well, if you're not going to ask me, I'm going to find a way to get this in.
Well, I think it was an important question. And, Mary's story is obviously going to be a significant part of this season. And as we know, Mary's son, Robert, passed away in February from a drug overdose right in the middle of filming.
I was actually so shocked Mary even continued filming. So Meredith spoke really genuinely about how supportive everyone had been of Mary. She said it was amazing to see how strong Mary had been. And you could tell that Meredith was speaking from the heart. I thought she was actually very thoughtful when she was talking about her.
Yes, well, they are really friends in real life. And I think maybe it was cathartic for Mary to shoot those scenes because the cast clearly rallied around her.
I also liked Meredith on the pink carpet. When we did her photo of her, she put her arm around me and it just stayed there.
Because her friend Madeline's iPhone camera suddenly stopped working.
And Mads is going, I'm trying, just hang on, while she's frantically pressing buttons. And Meredith is just standing there completely cool, calm, and collected with her arm around me.
It felt like
Typical Meredith.
it felt like we were all posing for 3 hours.
Time stood still. Meredith's arm never left my side. It was so nice of her, honestly, just patiently waiting. But now we're really glad Mads's camera did take so long to snap.
Yeah, it's because we were standing frozen for so long. The official Hayu photographer from Getty Images had time to set up a proper shot of us with Meredith. And there are 83 official photos from the event, and 3 of them are us with Meredith.
Although I have absolutely no idea why anyone would want 3 photos of us with Meredith Marks.
Well, we were still immortalized as one of the important moments of the day. My personal highlight was seeing our very own homegrown Captain Jason. He's very handsome in person, and I get the impression he's not into the fame side of things, but just takes one for the team and shows up and is enthusiastic. And I researched some questions to ask him. Below Deck Down Under Season 5 was just renewed last week, but he said it's already been filmed. It's set in Tahiti. He also said he'd love to see a New Zealand version of the show, and I totally agree.
So several of the Below Deck Down Under cast actually live here in Sydney, like Hannah. I wonder why they didn't invite her along.
Well, Hannah's close with Shep, Craig, and Meredith, and fans would have loved it. Plus, she's appearing next week on Below Deck Med, attending Aisha's bachelorette party. Jason also talked about his daughter, who's 12. She lives in Bali with his ex-partner. He said that she doesn't watch TV, although she did see a bit of him on season 1. She told him he had bad teeth and she couldn't keep watching. And after season 1, Captain Jason did get Invisalign, and it has made such a difference.
I also loved that at the end of FanFest, he was just walking around the crowd, posing for random pictures and not hurrying off to some restaurant.
Plus, he said he's now actively looking for love in 2026. Gird your loins, ladies. He actually had 2 girls follow him into the bathroom of a pub the other night.
Well, who could blame them? I would. So Alexia Napola mentioned to us that she was proud to represent Latin culture and also talked a bit about that on stage. As we mentioned, she is stunning and really warm with fans. However, I was a bit surprised she was brought out here because The Real Housewives of Miami has now been cancelled, or at least paused. And the last time it was paused, it wasn't back for about 10 years.
Yeah, the show had low ratings, and I don't understand that because people in the Bravoverse like us absolutely love this show.
Yeah.
But there's also the Todd situation. She's now divorced from ex-husband Todd, but at FanFest, she was wearing a huge diamond engagement and wedding ring on her left ring finger.
And she's been doing social media posts out at dinner with him, etc. So are they still seeing each other, even though they're divorced?
I don't believe they ever actually broke up for good.
Okay.
Todd had tried to bring this lawsuit against Bravo, claiming he'd been misrepresented and then it cost him financially. And apparently that may have actually been a factor in the show's future as well. Who knows? But it was just odd that they brought someone out to promote a show that no longer exists.
Yeah, I'm not sure we needed 5 Real Housewives. I think it would have been good to bring out like a younger cast member from The Valley or Summer House because they're top shows currently on Hayu.
So we also met Juliet Mayhew from Real Housewives of London, who is clearly loving being back home in Australia.
I knew they'd bring her over because she's Aussie.
For sure. And she said she hasn't been back in 7 years because she's been raising her kids, Ophelia and Orlando. And she said Ophelia was studying fashion and had a haute couture piece on the runway at Paris Fashion Week and even met Vogue's Anna Wintour.
They also played the teaser from the upcoming season of The Real Housewives of London, which premieres on September 7.
I am still a diehard Ladies of London fan, and I am so devastated that Bravo canceled it. Juliet also said Nicole O'Neill was one of her best friends, and Nicole was at FanFest to support her. Nicole was hanging out in the cordoned-off VIP section, and Juliet waved to her from the stage, and Nicole waved back.
Finally, we had Cynthia Bailey, another interesting choice to bring out, as yes, she's a long-time Atlanta housewife, but this season she's only a friend of the show.
I personally don't know that much about her, but she did bring the supermodel energy.
Yes.
She was wearing this fabulous copper-colored gown by Australian designer Zhivago.
That dress was divine. I thought that was one of the best outfits. I loved that colour and it looked amazing against the long blonde hair. I also liked that they had her old tattered friendship contract with Nene Leakes as one of the exhibits in the foyer. That was funny.
Yeah, we really don't have much more tea on Cynthia. She does exude a very calm, poised energy.
And you know what? That's a wrap on Hayu Fanfest 2026. So, as long-time former entertainment journalists, we've interviewed so many stars over the decades, but there's always something special about meeting the people whose shows you actually watch and love.
Absolutely. It's one thing to interview a celebrity for work, but it's another thing to meet someone you've watched on your TV for years. It's a bit surreal, and it's been a thrill to meet so many famous Real Housewives and Bravolebrities at FanFest and other shows over the past few years.
So, that's it for So Many Receipts this week. I hope you enjoyed this special show. I'm Fleur Michelle.
And I'm Shelley Sutton.
Join us again next week.